He's co-founder of Hoppers London, and he recently authored Hoppers The Cookbook. Joining us today is Karan Gokani.
Such a pleasure to be here, Rab, and to finally meet you in person.
Yes, lovely meeting you too. And how have you been finding it so far to be
Loving
back?
it, having no time to breathe, no time to do anything. This trip has been such a whirlwind tour. I mean, every trip to Sri Lanka is packed with action, but this one is even more than ever before because of obviously for me, a huge milestone of bringing the book home.
Definitely.
So it's been non-stop, meeting people. The media has been very gracious, and thank you today. So it's so nice to be able to spread the message out, and for me, it's such a great moment to be able to share this book with Sri Lanka and Sri Lankans. And so far, luckily, no one has found mistakes, and people have only, given us good compliments. So very, very happy and keeping my fingers crossed.
Definitely. So now you in Sri Lanka, you go way back. And I also read that you even proposed to your wife here. So
Something in the stars, for sure. For sure. It's I first got to know one of my closest friends, Vishmi, who we studied together.
Yeah.
And Arita, he was a lawyer, I was a lawyer. We ended up cooking in the same dorm room, and then we all met. And then through the two of them, who seemed to know everyone in Sri Lanka, anyone who passed through London almost had to stop to pay their respects to these two. And I was standing in the back, so I ended up meeting them. So we kind of got to know a quarter of the island, and then oddly enough, started calling so many of them friends. And now every time I come here, through friends, I meet other people, and I genuinely have to say I love most. I mean, I can count on one hand the people who I'd say I'd stay away from. I don't even dislike them. Stay away from. I'm not going to say it on camera, but I know more people here than any other country in the world, and I genuinely love the people. And I think a lot of what we do there is inspired by, propelled by this love for this country, and most importantly, for the people. And I would say even the food is secondary.
Oh,
I
wow.
love the food, but it's the people who, every day morning I wake up and I was like, I'm in this fortunate position where I'm kind of representing this island, a country that I never grew up in, so it's more of a responsibility. But I love it, and I'm so, I pinch myself that people have really accepted me with open arms and have been so gracious about the fact that an Indian has gone out and opened Sri Lankan restaurants, now written a Sri Lankan book. I mean, yes, I have done all the research possible, but still people could criticize, but they have been so supportive, and that's really taken us to the next level. So,
I think what I found really interesting is you started off with law. And when you're Asian, you're Desi, you have this trifecta of doctor, lawyer, engineer, and then you shifted from law to this. How was that?
I mean, it was a difficult decision at the time, and I think for me it was very much about the ball is in my court. I had a really good job, was doing well in it, but I kind of knew that if I kept doing it, I was just bored. I was looking for every day I was looking forward to going home and cooking.
Okay.
For friends, or for myself, or discovering something new, or reading recipes all day quietly on like one laptop and like one screen and the other screen at my work on it, and get distracted. And I was like, this should not be life. I should not be living for that, dying in 9 to 5 and living after that. Somehow I want to make a life where I can really realize myself, where I think we all have a talent and we're all sent to this world for some things. Very few are fortunate enough to find it, and I think I'm lucky that at the right time I made the right move, the stars aligned, the people around me were there to support. My wife and her brothers have a great group of restaurants, and I could plug into that and really realize my creativity with Hoppers. So I'm not saying everyone should do this or has the luxury of doing it, but definitely try and find that little thing that drives you, because today it's not work, and that's the amazing thing. It's not networking, it's making friends, it's learning, and I think that's what's amazing about being in a world that you love. Now that could be anywhere. There are some people I know who love that law degree and are going to become partners and doing really well, and working through the hours of the night, and I can do that with my job. I don't call it a job, but I can do that with being in hospitality, where I eat, breathe, live it, and luckily I've had the returns as well. So yeah.
That is wonderful, honestly. And so in conceptualizing Hoppers and creating a menu, deciding this is the kind of cuisine I want to do, obviously speaking to you now, I'm seeing how much of a connection you have to Sri Lanka, and you also serve South Indian food at Hoppers, right? So how was the whole planning the menus, getting things sorted? How did you decide on that?
So again, I'll talk about my wife and her brothers. They are of Indian descent, but grew up in the UK. I grew up in Mumbai, so both different regions of the country. But I think I had grown up eating a lot of South Indian food.
Okay.
I even gone off on my own to research the appam, which is a different version.
Yeah.
And I think traditionally the sort of appam hopper came from the same sort of derivative, but appams are actually flatter, softer from Kerala. And I remember just doing a holiday for fun on my own when I was working. I just went into people's homes, went into restaurants, tried to learn it for fun. Never knowing that one day I'd even think about doing a restaurant leave aside one called Hoppers. So there was definitely that connection growing up. My brother-in-law, who's also very creative, he's the one who founded the company, and we created this concept together to begin with. He had Sri Lankan friends at university. At school, I obviously had my Sri Lankan friends at university. So there was a confluence, and it was a bit of a selfish motive where we said, we love this food. We don't get it in the form we want to get it. There's no restaurant we can go to, so let's create the restaurant. And I wanted the restaurant to be casual, to be fun, to be accessible, because I'm not a restaurateur. I was a trained lawyer, I'm not trained as a chef, I'm not trained as a restaurateur. And I said, okay, let's do something which welcomes everyone. It's at a reasonable price point. It's a fun space. Anyone can come in and work as long as you have the heart. You don't need to have the training and all that stuff. And lo and behold, this small little space came up and we did it. So, and lucky for us, it also did really well. And I think ever since that's just driven it. So the menu to begin with was, some of our favorite dishes from Sri Lanka, lots of our favorite dishes from South India. And when I say South India, it's a very generic term.
Yes.
This is a region that's about 5 times the size of Sri Lanka itself. So particularly Tamil Nadu. And then a lot of our chefs are from Kerala, so we get a few influences there as well. Now we've started doing a little more from Kerala. But our dosa, for example, is purely the Tamil dosa from India, from Tamil Nadu, the crispy dosa. It's not a dosa from here. Whereas our hopper is a very traditional Sri Lankan hopper. It's crisp, soft in the middle, deeper bowl, whereas the appam is a little flatter and softer in Kerala. Similarly, black pork curry, our red chicken curry, these are dishes that are very much Sri Lankan. Our sambals, our sini sambal, our pol sambal, these are also Sri Lankan, whereas our chutneys, which would be a tomato, coconut or coriander chutney, are very South Indian. So we know in the menu what sits where and where the authenticity derives from, but at the end of the day they work together because they aren't that far away from each other. There's coconut curry leaves and some common ingredients. So it forms a really nice sort of complementary menu. Yeah. And then in that we've stuck in some dishes that, we kind of got influenced by other cuisines or where we are, or using ingredients from local suppliers and then sort of using Sri Lankan influences on top of it.
Great. And Hoppers, the cookbook, flying off the shelves. Congratulations.
Thank you.
One thing I loved about your book is, the QR code. I think that was an ingenious idea. How did you come up with it?
So I think design is something I really love. Whether it's designing Instagram, or it's designing a menu, or it's designing a poster, or it's designing a whole restaurant. And I think that's for that reason the design element of the book was very important. And I think you get good design or good creativity by finding the right team, giving them your vision, sharing your vision, taking that time to do it, but then allowing them to contribute to it. Yeah. Not just saying do it this way, this is the only way. And I think I was very lucky because the publisher chose an incredible designer called Luke Bird. He's not done many cookbooks, so he came in with a really fresh perspective. He had been to Sri Lanka, but we really sparred a lot. We exchanged ideas. I took him on this whole journey of Hoppers. Came to all my restaurants, saw all the details, and I pick the masks when I come here. I pick the batiks when I come here from Celine. I get the mask from Barefoot and Gaul and wherever else, and all the furnishings we have a story behind. So he shared that story, and he was able to put it in the book with help, direction. We went back and forth, but I think it's such a beautiful product. And the photos, on the other hand, are so authentic because Ryan Vijayaratna, who goes by You're My Favorite on Instagram, he is such a powerhouse of talent, but also the nicest guy. Become so close to me. He's followed me I've spent more time in a car with him than I've spent with anyone I know, because we've gone the length and breadth of this country multiple times. So to answer your question, we had this amazing bank of pictures. So it wasn't like sometimes you do a cookbook, you say, okay, 4 days I'm going to shoot everything. this wasn't like that. This was months of work, both here in London. So we could just tap onto that. Yes, we did some more for the book, but we got all that, and we said we have some videos as well. And you know, in this day and age of Instagram, people want movement.
Yes.
YouTube, Instagram, shorts, all that kind of stuff. So why not make it visual? So it's not the QR codes are just to give you a sense of, if I'm seeing a chapter on toddy plantation, I've got beautiful visuals, but they could be stock images.
Yeah.
You take a picture, you'll see all of us in there. You'll see this man actually climbing up the tree, and that's amazing because you know it takes you beyond. It makes you feel a part of the book because the book is meant to be a bit of a journey as well.
And it's a very immersive experience, without a doubt.
I'm glad you think so.
It is, and I'm glad you did it. Actually, it's pretty ingenious. I love that idea. And speaking of, you know, you documenting things, one of the things I absolutely love about your social media accounts is the fact that the way you document it, I feel like we are there with you traveling, and the way you've been documenting Sri Lanka as well. I mean, I find like I have a newfound love for my country and appreciation for my country. The way you showcase it, I think is just wonderful.
I'm very flattered. I think
and
I
I'm
won't
glad
take
you're
credit on the technical side because we just do what we love. We get out there, we do what we love. You know, I have this problem that I share too much or don't share. I'm not sort of consistent enough with sharing. Whereas like there are days when I just see something I really like and then I'm not waiting for a Tuesday morning or Thursday afternoon or whenever my highest ratings are. I just want to get it out there. And sometimes it works, it doesn't, but that's just what social media is. I think it's such a great platform.
Yes.
I call it the LinkedIn for creatives because I like visuals. I don't like reading biodatas and like long essays or even short tweets. I like the visual medium of Instagram, and I like that it's a way to, I know immediately when I see who's genuine and who's not, and I've made so many amazing connections, and it's lovely getting DMs and messages and capture, you know, and sort of seeing other people's content. It's so inspiring. So I love doing it, and I think, you know, you throw a little bit out into the world and you get a lot back, and this is about that.
Without a doubt. And Hoppers The Cookbook, you're also chosen as Book of the Month for Jamie Oliver's book club. Tell me about that.
Again,
that's
so
we
we had some great accolades last year. It's one of those things, again, you do it, you let it be. And luckily, you know, we did a lot of the top lists in the UK. And then Jamie was very kind. This is not a paid gig, it's not something you can twist his arm to do. He's a very popular man. But he really liked the book. When I first tried to get him to write a quote in it, for some reason that didn't work out. But then he came back to me and he said, listen, I've got something more than a quote. I actually love the book and I'm going to feature it on my cookbook club, which is a great forum because there are a lot of engaged people who talk, who cook from it, who do all kinds of things from it. We even go, so as soon as I get back from Sri Lanka, I get into his head office and we cook for the entire team, including him.
That
so
is
we're going to do a
wonderful.
full meal from the cookbook at Jamie's office.
Wow.
I hope he's going to be there, but that'll be very exciting. So it was great to be featured on that.
Lovely.
Yeah.
And I know you have a crazy packed schedule, but you've also made time to do some good. And you'll be visiting the Pirivena school as well.
I don't look at it as good. I think it's a very heartwarming, fulfilling thing, and it's just part of everything we do. I don't caption it as this is not. I mean, eating is good, learning new recipes is good, and I think working with children is actually great because I've been looking for this opportunity, looking for the right charity, and then last year I happened to meet. I was introduced to Mr. Abbas Yusuf Ali, who I have so much love and admiration for. He does so much great stuff in this country, both on the commercial side as well as the non-commercial, especially. Just to see how involved he gets in his outreach foundation and his CSR is incredible. So we tap into Hema's outreach foundation, the Piyavara Foundation, and we created something called Feeding the Future, where we've kind of looked after. We've raised about £100,000 for about 15 schools in 6 districts. So we're going to go to one of those schools on Thursday this week, just to go and see them, because I've not had a chance to come down and actually visit any of the schools. So it's going to be very, very interesting, and I've got some of my team members who are also equally excited. So we're going to go out there, talk to these children, hopefully get some pictures to share with our team back home, just to show them what you are doing and who you represent. So very excited about that. And then obviously end the week on another high, where we're doing a drinks collaboration with our friends at Smoke and Bitters, one of the coolest bars and brands around in Hirkatya.
Lovely. Okay. So
action-packed.
Definitely. So one last question.
Sure.
What's next for Karan Gokani?
I wish I knew. It's been a great year. I mean, last year was so busy with the book, and we had a couple of other international projects on, so it was just non-stop. And I think this year I'm just taking a step back and actually just going with the book. I mean, I'd say a step back, but I've got Sri Lanka, I've got India, I've got the US in the next 5 weeks. So all tours with the book. But again, it's allowing me to get into cities, it's allowing me to talk to people who I had nothing really to show for. I could bring them into the restaurant, but if you're not planning to come to London, or I'm not planning to open in a remote city in the US, there's no point, no one's interested in it. They might say, oh great, you've got a good restaurant for it. Now I've got something tangible I can hand over. It's almost a piece of Hoppers, piece of the story. And it's allowed us to do some really fun stuff. So I'm so excited that I get back from here. We've got some really exciting things in London, and then go off to the States immediately after for 2 weeks, doing a very similar, crazy, hectic tour, all the way from LA, San Francisco, Portland, New York, some really great brands. And then finish that, come back, spend a few more weeks in London doing a couple of other bits, and then we've got a tour like that in India.
Oh, okay.
And then finally finish that, and then we've got all our summer festivals. So it's going to be a chocolate block here, but kind of, just enjoying and basking in the glow of this book, of where Hoppers is, and let's see where life takes us.
Well, we can't wait to see all the amazing things that you're doing. So thank you, Karan. I know you've been super busy, and thank you for making some time for us.
Thank you, Rhea. And I want to see what you cook from it. I want to see what the viewers cook from the book. And if you have,
definitely,
when you do cook, don't get in touch if you find mistakes. But if you do cook and you like what you cook, share it with us. We're on Hoppers London. I'm personally on Karan Cooks. Love getting messages. We'll reach out. We'll quickly hit you back up. So stay in touch.
Definitely. So don't forget to follow him. His accounts, truly, I'm a huge fan.
Thank you.
So Karan's books are available at Barefoot.
I mean, we did sell out, but we will get more books. So
hopefully. So fingers crossed.
Yeah. Odell, Sarasavi, Barefoot. I'm doing a little signing, Wild in the Sage down south, So hopefully the others will also sort of come on board and sell it. It's just such a great feeling to see this book here.
Definitely, and I can't wait to get my hands on it and try, hopefully cook for you sometime.
Yes.
Let's see.
Next week.
Okay. So thank you, Karan.
Thank you, Rhea.
We'll bump. Nice seeing you too. Thanks.